I'm pleased to be joined now by Keith Kirk, who is the founder and CEO of Motif Music. Keith, welcome to Live Radio. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. Thanks so much for having me, Mike.
It's a pleasure, man. It's been 100 years, as I always like to say. But the years have been good to you.
Yes, yes, likewise, likewise.
Yeah, so you started up this enterprise, Motif Music. So what sort of service are you providing and who are you aiming the service at?
So we specialize, we provide a number of service for independent artists, record labels, publishers, songwriters, producers, anybody who owns the rights to music. We offer a suite of services to help manage and administrate those copyrights, right? But we specialize in metadata management and administration.
Mhm.
That's our key offering at Motif Music.
Right. Now,
Mhm.
I'm sure folks might have heard Princess of Wales submitted a photograph and there were some changes made, and you could see people looking at the metadata of the photograph,
Uh-huh.
which shows it was saved, into Adobe a couple of times at least.
Mhm.
So from that point of view, the metadata is literally the DNA of that photograph. It shows you how it was done, when it was taken, which camera was used, the size of the photo, and so on and
Yes,
so forth.
yes,
And
yes.
that is essential, because I've known situations where law enforcement have
Mhm.
located criminals
Uh-huh.
by doing the metadata on
Forensic, yeah.
photographs that they've foolishly posted. So
Absolutely,
they said, okay,
absolutely,
he's at that address. Let's go and get him. So,
absolutely,
but in
100.
those cases, Keith, the metadata was produced by the camera itself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but in terms of what you're doing, the metadata, that
Mm-hmm.
comes from an individual now, like yourself, because you used to do
Yeah.
that work for Universal.
Yes. Yeah.
You were entering and checking metadata accuracy
Mm-hmm.
before it was uploaded to platforms like iTunes, Spotify,
That's
and so
correct.
on. And just to be clear, you're also doing that as well, uploading to those platforms for your clients.
Absolutely. So I started off at Universal doing that work about more than 10 years ago.
Mhm.
And then I branched off and was doing my own thing, with different clients and stuff like that. And I was like, wait a minute. So I'm helping you all with administrate your metadata, and then I'm suggesting which distributor you should use to get your song to iTunes and Spotify. I
Mhm.
was like, wait a minute, why am I doing that? Why don't I just start my own distribution company?
Okay.
Because I know this thing. This is what I do. So a few years ago, this is during the pandemic actually, I founded Motive Music, and just like about a few months ago, I started Motive Music Distribution, which allows me to distribute music to over 150 platforms around the world. Right, a lot of them you've never even heard of, right?
Mm.
But the main ones we know is iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, Deezer, Tidal, etc. But there's tons more of them,
Right.
right?
Right.
So take your song, I administrate the metadata, ensure that all the publishing information is correct, everything is clean, everything is correct. Then I push it through on the platform and then send it through to the DSPs. They're called digital service providers.
Right. And and
Uh-huh.
and okay, I'm an artist, an inspire upcoming
Uh-huh.
artist, and
Uh-huh.
I'm looking to get out there. So I
Uh-huh.
find you, Motive
Yeah.
Music. What does it cost me to use your service?
Well, that's a good question. I am probably the cheapest on the market in
Hmm.
terms of services. I'm so cheap because I'm working with a specific demographic. I'm working with people who are doing this for the first time. I'm working with really small artists who probably have songs out there and who have tried this but haven't had much success. That's my demographic. So I have like a subscription model, and it is recommended that you do a 3 month starter subscription, right? And that 3 months is £150 per month for 3 months. And what that allows me to do is start to really what we do is create your back office. What does that mean? So if someone is signed to Sony Music, let's say Wintley Phipps is signed to Sony Music, the people at Sony are, you have about 5 departments. You got A&R, you got promotions and marketing, you got business development, you got legal affairs, you've got DigiOps. DigiOps takes care of all things digital, right? And you've got some other departments. And when I was actually at Sony in London, I counted about how many people were in that building. It's about 500 people it takes to get one record through the door. There's about 500 people working on this one song or this one album to take it to the market. And when I looked at it, I was like, there's no way the independent artist is going to compete with this. So what I do, I create a back-end office for you through Motif Music, and I act as your administration back-end that handles everything from registering your songs with the PRS, making sure that your publishing is straight, making sure you have all the codes like the ISRC and the UPC codes. And I want to speak about that specifically in a minute. And then getting the song out to the market in the correct way. Because what happens a lot is that a lot of independent artists, they're putting out the music, but they're not putting it out in the right way. So they're not seeing any money, not getting any receipts, etc., etc. So yeah, for 3 months, I say you do a 3 months with me. It's £150 for each month for 3 months. If you want to continue after that, you can. If you don't have to, that kind of thing. But I recommend that you start off with that 3 months, and then there's a separate cost to my distribution, which is 35 US for the year for the distribution, which means you can release as many songs as you want for 35 US for the year.
Total 35 for the year.
$35 for the year.
And I can do 10 songs.
10 songs, 100 songs,
right.
How many ever you want. 100 albums, however you want, yeah.
And okay, so you put my music up on all those major platforms right around the world. Yeah. When do I begin to see any results?
Very good question. Mike, I feel that you should get into this business because you understand it quite well. Yeah, because it's not immediate, right?
No.
It takes about a year to actually see receipts from your music, right? Because when your song goes out there, you register your song with PRS. PRS has something called reciprocal agreements with other PROs around the world. So it takes time for the song to be registered with all the PROs around the world. And just remember, PRS is just one agency that collects one type of royalty called a public performance royalty. You have the mechanicals, you have downloads, you got digital streams, you got public performance, you got digital public performance streams, you got interactive streaming, you got non-interactive streaming. And so you have different agencies that collect different types of royalties.
No wonder you need 500 people.
No, yes, because there's so many different, there's so many different places that your song, that's why the song, one song can be broken up into hundreds of pieces.
Yeah.
And each piece can be monetized.
Yeah. So within the metadata then, how many entry points are there in terms of, you got the song title?
Yes.
You've got the writers, the composer. You've got, how many entries do you have to do for a metadata?
It's unlimited.
Wow.
It could be 100 plus, right? Because you have to record everything, right? In the music business, you have something called identifiers. So you have the ISRC code, the UPC code, the UPN, the EAN, the ISNI, the IPI, the IPN. There's a lot of codes. Those codes help us to manage all this copyright because there's about 7 million artists globally, right? And if you understand the power of publishing, that's why Universal and these companies go into publishing. Let me explain publishing to you. Because you can break up a song into many, many, many pieces and monetize each piece, publishing becomes a very powerful business, right? So when you hear Universal and Sony say, we have, 2.5 million songs in our catalog, right? That 2.5 million songs, each of those songs can be broken up into hundreds of pieces, and each piece can be monetized. What do I mean by that?
You're talking there about syndication, synchronization. So you say a TV company wants to use a little bit of my song, a 30-second
yes, sir.
of my song in their advert. I
Man,
can monetize that.
Listen, they can say, we like that 4 bars, that bass line. We just want 4 bars of that.
Mm-hmm.
That can go into an M&M commercial, and that sync alone can be worth £100,000.
Wow.
Just the 4 bars of that bass line, not the whole song. Right? So imagine you can what we normally do is strip the song to pieces, right? So you separate the piano, the bass, the drums, the guitar, the vocals, the background vocals, and each of those can be monetized. Each of those can be used for different reasons. There's a company in America that they will take the lyrics and they will license the lyrics alone, or even a piece of the lyric.
So as an artist, Keith, and I want to use your service.
Yes.
Do I just send you the complete song, the finished song, or do I break them down like you've just been talking about and send them each of those to you?
Well, you for distribution purposes, you will send me the complete song, right? I'm working with some other people who are specialized in sync. If you if you want to submit your song to them for sync opportunities, then the sync company will usually ask you to send something called stems, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yep. So they'll say send the whole song, but send the stems and send all the different versions. But they'll also ask you to send 15, 30, and 60-second versions of the song as well, because they wanna be able to use it in multiple different ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So I'm working with a guy in America now who actually was trained under one of Michael Jackson's managers. He was a tax guy, and he's now in the music industry, and he does a lot of sync stuff for movies and commercials and all these things. And he was telling me, one sync could be worth 60 grand, 100 grand, 150 grand. It depends.
Oh.
Right. So you will send them the stems, and they will have it on their system. And then if an opportunity comes, they will say, okay, we got an opportunity. We can use the 15-second version for this part or whatever. And they can even break it up further or whatever. So anytime you pull it apart, it's like a new song. Even if it's just 4 bars, it's a new track that can be monetized.
We were speaking off here, Keith, about the amount of agencies around the globe who collect royalties. What was the number you gave me?
Well, what I was saying is that there are around 900,000 individual revenue streams for one song, meaning if you record one song, that song automatically has 900,000 ways of making money.
Wow.
900,000. Yeah.
The only way I can benefit from all those avenues that my song is playing along is the metadata.
Absolutely.
Which is the unique identifier.
Yes, sir.
For my song.
Yes. It's the DNA, as you said.
Yes.
The DNA of the song.
Yeah.
That song tells me who played the bass, who sang lead, who did backups, who did this, who did what, who's the publisher, who owns the song, which is what label, etc. And all those individuals, which we refer to as contributors, get paid. Yeah. Background vocalists get paid. If you are a member of PPL in the UK, right, and you sang on an album, PPL pays you as a background singer or session musician. But you have to be signed up with them to collect money.
Yes. I've seen a little bit of metadata when you click on your MP3 file.
Yes, sir.
Right click into properties.
Yes, sir.
Some data, and sometimes you see a whole load of numbers.
Yes.
Binary numbers, zeros and ones, and so on and so forth. Just a little bit about it there. But Keith, you're trying to encourage people who are just starting out or who've got a number of songs, but just doesn't have the time or the wherewithal to be doing
Yeah.
all this thing. You're
Mhm.
providing that service for them at a very reasonable cost
Mhm.
of doing so. And
Mhm.
so back catalogs,
Mhm.
because a lot of these things now they're digitized and so on, but there were stuff back in the days when we're doing the 33 and a third. So,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
45s.
and I
Yeah.
could think of some names of some record labels who've got thousands of old stuff
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
needs to be refreshed
Yes.
and
Yes.
digitized and introduced to a new marketplace,
Yeah.
to new
Yes.
markets.
Yeah.
This is where your service could come in.
Yes. Because we're in this digital age. As
Mhm.
soon as you know, like back in the day, if you distributed your CD to Virgin Records in London, you will have to now fly those CDs to America and Africa and all over the place. With Spotify and Apple Music, from the time you put that song on that platform, it's instantly global. Instantly, right? So I really want to encourage people to use my service. You know, we're on this broadcast right now. I'm a Christian. I'm a Seventh Day Adventist Christian who's running this business. God has given me the opportunity to work in these secular arenas. Universal Music is the largest music company in the world. And I've also worked for Sony Music, which is the second largest music company in the world. And I've seen what they do.
Mhm.
And I've really come to understand how the mechanics of all this works. And I really want to help people who really don't understand how it works,
Mhm.
especially in our church where we're known. The Seventh Day Adventist Church is known for its music, but you can hardly find a lot of our good music out there.
So what's been the
So
take up? You say you've only been about what, 4 years old or something like that. What's been the take up
mhm.
in terms of new artists coming through?
Yeah, it's been interesting. I've been working with a lot of our SDAs actually.
Hmm.
You know, a lot of people, some people at Oakwood, people in America, just recently released an album from a group in from Washington D.C. called Clay,
Yes.
and it's the most amazing thing. If anybody knows Special Blend out there, a Special Blend, this album by Clay is a Special Blend 2.0.
Wow.
It's reminiscent of that, but with a new sound. And the arranger, his name is Culver Heskey. His dad is a pastor, Pastor Heskey. Anybody who's listening out there, you may know who Pastor Heskey is. His son, they're from Antigua, but live in America now. Prolific arranger, prolific arranger. And he formed a group called Clay, and they've written some songs, and they've done some old stuff by Marshall T. Kelly, etc., etc. They've brought some of these old songs to life, and it's just the most fantastic thing that's coming out of the Adventist right
Yes,
now.
I got a taste of it from producer
Yeah,
Adrian
yeah,
Wesley Jr.
yes, yes,
And
yes,
yes,
yeah.
I've been rinsing it, as they say.
Yeah,
So,
but it can't rinse no more for me. It's dry. Yeah,
man, it's been good hearing from you. We wish you all the best with
yes.
Motif Music. So,
Mhm.
where do people find you then, Keith?
They can go to motifmusic.io, Motif for Freddie, music dot indigo Oscar.io. That's the
Hmm.
website, or you can find me on Instagram /motifmusic.io, I think it is. Yeah, but the website has everything on it, including the distribution and everything
Great,
like that.
great, great, great. Good talking to you as always, and wish you very best with this. And certainly, if I know of any artists, I will certainly suggest that they come to you and get their music out there.
Yes,
It's the least they
please,
can do. Mm,
please. And if it's just one album or one
yeah,
song, just want to get it out.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
And
man.
I'll
Good
show
to
you how
talk to
to
you.
do it.
Yes,
Thank you
sir.
so much.
All right. Take care.
All right. You
All right.
too.
Bye bye
All right.
now.
Bye. Bye.